Hi everyone, my name's Vicky and I have the Facebook page Cruising Princess Cruise Lines with Vicky. And now you are at my YouTube channel to learn more about cruising, and hopefully I can teach you a little bit about how I organize and keep track of my cruises and how I do some of my research for the ports. Now, a friend of mine actually gave me this idea, and this is from Anita, and I've taken what she has and I sort of tweaked it a little bit to suit my needs a little more. And what I do is I have a couple binders, and one of them is for port information, the other one is for past cruises, and then I have this one which is my current cruise binder. And in that I always list my upcoming cruises, and in this case I currently only have one cruise that's upcoming, and that's my South America trip. And because that cruise is such a long one, we really had to make sure we were organized on planning it and what we were going to do, and also taking track of what we have booked and how much is owing and so forth. So if I open it up, my first thing is I bought these plastic, clear plastic envelope holders. In there I keep track of little pieces of paper, and in this case I have my outstanding coffee cards because they're still good on my future Princess Cruises and I don't want to lose them. So I keep them in there. And then I have my tab. So in this case I just have one cruise left, and that's my South America cruise. I'm going to move a little bit closer. And so, but I might sometimes have other cruises in the future, I should say, because sometimes we book them quite a distance out. So for this trip, I've actually created a table that outlines each port, what we're doing in each port, how long we're there, who our contact is for that port, how much is outstanding owing, what the details are, like what time are we meeting at with the group, what the booking number is, you know, who's coming with us perhaps. Then I've produced the itinerary. This I've just gotten off from a travel agent online, printed that out. I have our flight information printed out completely, our car rental information that we've booked, and in this case, we booked the car through Priceline, and I've even written down what our frequent flyer number is, or our loyalty number with, I think this is with Alamo, and or National. I can't even tell. Anyways, and we highlight things like booking numbers and so forth, so it's quick and easy to find on the form when we need to, because goodness knows I'm always searching for that kind of stuff at the last minute. Then we have our hotel information. I have our cruise booking with our travel agent here, and at the bottom I've written down our in fact, even with this, the price went down on our cruise. So this is our old booking and how much it cost, and then when the price came down I printed out the new one. So I keep both because it's always important to look back and see how much the cruise was initially and how much it ended up at. We have a tour booked in Fort Lauderdale, so I have that info. And then what I do is I create these little tabs for each port that we're going to. So if I open up to, say, Buenos Aires here. So this is my tab for Buenos Aires. And I create a page that lists the port, the date we're there, and the time. And then I write down information that I find interesting about the port that we're going to. Now, sometimes I get this information from friends who have been there, or I've done some research online through Cruise Critic, or I've gone to a web page and found out some information, or I've even read it in a book or something. And I'll write down that information. So in this case, I have written down that the tour company we're using, when I contacted him initially, who was interested in doing this tour with us. Also, I'd contacted somebody we'd used in the past, and I wrote that information down. But after that, I actually have who we booked with. I printed out the email. I've highlighted information about what time we're meeting at, how much is owing, and then a copy of the PayPal invoice. Now, for Buenos Aires, in fact, we've been there before, and so what I've done is I've kept the printout that Princess has given us about that port, and I just kept it and put it in here so that when I'm doing research I can quickly check some of the facts and information, and it just helps me make my planning a little bit easier, I guess you could say. Now, the last time we visited, here's the foolscap page with the information of what we did the last time we were there. And again, I wrote down things like must-sees that we should be doing, but there's a city tour that somebody was organizing and I hadn't decided on that. There was some free walking tours, I wrote that down. And then I ended up writing who we actually did book with and the contact information about that, and I included the old information. Again, this was just more for my research. I didn't actually book with them again this time. I went with another agent, but they were really great, so I recommended them to somebody else on our roll call, and now they're using their services. Now, what's really handy about keeping the old port information intact is that I can keep it and put it in with this new cruise. So if we look at the Falklands, I really don't have anything written down on my foolscap. I have the date we're getting there and the time, but we decided not to do a tour that day. And so I've got the port information that we got from the ship. And the last time we were there, I picked up this little information booklet. And from that booklet, I managed to decide with my husband that we would do this walking tour and this hike. So I have that printed out. But I also still have the old information. And again, that came in handy because on the roll call, people were asking about tours to Volunteer Point, and I was able to quickly look and see how much it cost us, what time we met, who the contact was, and the fact that we paid in pounds sterling instead of the U.S. currency. So that's really handy. And then when we go on our trip, all I do is I pull out all of this information for this whole sailing, and I take out some of the stuff that isn't relevant. So I would usually take out the information from past cruises, the old Princess port information. I take that out to make it less cumbersome. But I make sure I have all the information, it's all in order, it's right there, and it's handy. And what's neat is when I come home, I then put the information from this cruise, like the log of the cruise, the booking information, the hotel information, the flight information, and I put that in a separate binder, and I'll label that like our South America trip. So I can now go back and look about the last time we did a Caribbean cruise, the 10-day Emerald Caribbean cruise. How much did we pay? What cabin did we have? What time did we book at? Did the price go down? And what did we do in those ports? And what I've done is I've created 2 other binders that are specifically port binders, and I will have information about each of the ports that we've visited, and in there I will have the stuff that the foolscap with the information, the ship's information that they've given us, the tours we've booked, perhaps some maps that I have, maybe some other information I've written down from websites, all in this binder under different ports, and that just helps maybe make things easier for my next time I'm going there, but it certainly helps when I have friends or family or some of my fans on my Facebook page that ask me a question about going to a specific place. So I hope maybe you can take a little bit of information I've given you here and maybe set up your own system. And I hope you'll take a time and come out and check out my Facebook page, Cruising Princess Cruise Lines with Vicki. Thanks.